Welcome to the Yap Off podcast episode. I believe this is episode 10. All four of us back in the saddle, back here for another draft. As always, I'm Ted here with Sam, Joe, and John. Fellas, it's been a while. It's difficult to get us all in the same proverbial room.
It's tough, but I always look forward to it. I always mark it on my calendar, say this day, best day of the week.
I mark this calendar and say, beats working.
It's working. I'm very excited about it. It's a living, right? And all the ad revenue that comes gushing in. I'm glad that Joe Brown could take time from doing his bits at his Pokemon.
I want to say, Joe, I don't know.
So loud at that. Is that Joe Brown in the middle of the set? Hi guys, I am here. And oh my God, is that Jack Smith, 3-time champion and blah 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 blah? Oh, and here's Jane Doe. And 7-time champion, blah 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 blah.
Why aren't you in? Why are you here? Sam, I know you're not on Twitter.
I saw these.
Okay.
You saw it, Sam?
I saw them.
Oh.
It's viral
North American Pokemon Championship thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw them. And I was like, wow, that's Joe Brown from the podcast I'm on.
I was stunned they let you do that bit.
I was too.
Oh. I watched it and I was like, I'd never been more proud of you.
Okay, so for those unfamiliar, I can't believe it was the clip was viral enough to reach Tydings social media. That's an accomplishment. So the whole bit was it was the North American International Championships, and there were no local players. There's no North American players in top 8, which is for the first time ever. They've been holding these international championships since 2017, and the first time ever that a home region did not have a single representative in the top 8 of a VGC international. And so I admit that it sounded way meaner in the proof in the concept than what I intended. I thought it was just going to be a silly little bit. We just make a silly little joke that, there's no North Americans in the North American top 8, international championship. And so when I pitched it to our producer, I was like, I know this sounds weird, but I really think this could work. And so credit to her. She was like, as long as the players are cool with you, taking a stab at it, like then it's fine. And then we made this whole group and we had everyone sit it was like the exact second row of the tournament was open. Like no one was there. So it was like, oh, we have a perfect camera shot and a perfect toss from the stage and a perfect time with all these top level players, as Jon Perez mentioned, that are available. And credit to my podcast, my other podcast, so shall not be named, but Sierra on Oko podcast, our Pokemon one.
Should not be named Names podcast.
Yes, exactly. That's one of the best in the biz. Exactly. So credit to her. I was just going to make a joke that there were with them there that there were no North Americans, but Sierra came up with the question, "Oh, what North American are you rooting for?" And that was the one that got the biggest laugh. And that was when it really started. The ideas started to form together and the crowd really understood the bit. So I give her a lot of the credit. I give my producer credit for actually trusting me to make it work out. And a lot of people were like, oh, Joe Brown's so savage. Joe Brown hates America, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, man, it was just a silly, fun little bit.
Yeah, it was
3-time regional champ Justin Pang.
The best part, the Twitter clip cuts off. The best part to me, if you watch the VOD of it, is our mic is still live as it tosses back to the casters, and you can hear me and the players all laughing on the transition. That's my favorite part of the video, is that you could tell it was a bit still. Like, we were laughing at it happened.
Because like I think I texted you or something, because like I was like in my mind I'm like, there's no way this doesn't happen if the players aren't in on it. Like, no way it happens. Because, like, obviously everything's fake on the internet. But, like, I was just like, the players have to be in on this.
Yeah, they were all for it. I actually felt so, like, the act of, you mentioned Justin Tang. He was the big hitter. I felt like he got the biggest ooh out of it. Because he was, like, 3-time champion, as we said. He played his like embarrassment so well that I actually texted him afterwards. I was like, I am so sorry. I thought it was going to be funny. Like, he looked so sad and so depressed that, like, you know, and he was like, oh, dude, you told me to be sad. I was just acting sad. And I was like, that is how into it that he was. Like, I thought he was actually upset with me.
Now, I want to say this is old news. This happened 3-4 weeks ago.
Probably it was like, yeah, June, I don't know, 15th or something like that.
And so that's the past. Today's today. Mike Rizzo and Dave Martinez have been fired by the Nationals. Always love to date these podcasts. You know how I do. And what bigger than the Nationals, who I said when first episode, I think, of this podcast was me complaining that the Nationals did not do enough this offseason when it looked like the Juan Soto trade was probably going to work out. And now here we are, a week away from the MLB draft, and you're firing your GM.
Crazy.
I just want to know what their strategy was. Like they formed all these assets and they've done nothing to build around them.
I mean,
at all.
I mean, we know the reason. The people, the owners didn't want to spend money.
Oh yeah,
is sort of what it usually comes down to.
Well, they'll spend it just over the course of 8 years, elongated instead of, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said all those months ago, that now was the time to start pushing in your chips. And as someone, I said, if you're willing to fire your GM in the middle of the season, that means it was on the table that you were going to fire him at the start of the season. So why not do it then?
I always have a soft spot for the Nationals in my heart, Ted. I mean, one, I have family in DC that are fans. So, like, I'm happy. If the Nationals happy, they're happy, I'm happy, right? But 2019 was like peak Joe and Ted producer, editor timeline where we did every World Series game. And, you know, we had that whole 7-game series and all the nonsense that happened. So I do feel nostalgic for the Nationals every time. They also saved us from that Astros. You know,
I don't know.
The cheaters winning 2 World Series.
I don't know. You're always trying to censor me, so I don't know how much I like that. You kept saying, Ted, you can't say that. Can't say
I'm just
this,
saying that was
say
peak
that.
Ted and Joe hours. That World Series. That was the Shoto Shuffle, which I made the first video on, begrudgingly, forced against my will, and then it became a thing. I edited that compilation of every Soto Shuffle ball walk from the playoffs that year.
They were really going bottom of the barrel those playoffs, weren't they?
Yeah.
They sure were.
Must be shuffle.
Yeah.
You were not far off, Sam. That was something.
Now, John, did you listen to the podcast you were not on?
Like 10 seconds.
Okay.
It was working.
I respect
to
it.
get in the algorithm, but I missed it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, because I read the results from the last draft of that episode, and I don't think you're going to be happy. Because
you're never going to guess who won.
Yeah, I have once again come out on top.
Oh my goodness!
Now there was a whole thing about how we need ranked choice voting, and my take was, I don't think there is a universe in which you, John, would let anyone who voted for you, then you lose your vote and it goes to one of those two. Am I correct in my assumption?
I'll triple endorse with Joe and Sam.
That's really. I'm surprised. I thought you'd rather die on your ship than bring your friend down.
The don't rank Ted movement is growing. We have the numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been knocking on doors for weeks. People are like, what the hell are you talking about?
I don't want to, there's a member of our listening audience that we shall not be named because they don't like it when we shout them out. They are also a vehement supporter of the don't rank Ted after they tried to brag me. I will not be bought.
I mean, you're not the one that's bought. You're not the one that's being bought. You're buying.
I'm buying?
You're a buyer at the deadline.
How am I buying?
Yeah.
He's not even buying at the deadline. He's
I'm-
buying once he puts
I'm
the
just
spring trading. Yeah.
tabulations out. Right,
I'm just saying vote, and then should I not tell people to vote?
Vote for me, and nobody else,
Or
Yeah.
else.
or else. Right.
That's not what I'm saying. I don't say vote or else.
We're saying the same thing. Here.
I'm
We're saying the
begging
same thing.
people to just vote in general.
Right.
You know, this is how we
No matter
get.
how you get around to Ted and his column, however you get there, just vote.
It's not what's happening. See, it's gonna come around where you guys keep doing this bit, and people will just continue to vote for me.
It's not
For
a
the
bit if you
good of it,
continue to win every week.
But like I'm not doing anything. I
Sure,
keep saying people to vote with their
Holmes said
conscience.
the same thing. Pablo
then-
Escobar said the same thing.
See, and this is why these are the sort of attacks why people find me the sympathetic character in the drafts.
No, that's actually, we did do a vote on that. Nobody thinks you're sympathetic.
What? There was a vote on that?
We had some pollsters go around.
That we
town.
actually, we ran a poll.
Oh man, no, it will. That will be in this exit poll for this episode of the draft. If I'm a sympathetic character, which I'm pretty sure will be a no, but you know, gotta see it out there. As this is another draft episode, today's draft is it's the cartoon draft, non-anime edition, non-anime league. I want to proposition something. I want to eliminate 2 cartoons from the pool because I feel like they're all probably at 1-2 for all of us. Yes, it'll probably be bad for SEO if we don't, if they don't get picked and all that, but I'd rather lift up 2 others that might have gotten overlooked because these 2, of course, have to make an appearance. So I'm willing to hear arguments against, for, or any additions. I'm saying Simpsons and South Park should be off the board because what more can be said about these 2 cartoons that have been going on just as long as we've been on God's green earth? But if you would like them to be on there, I'm more than willing to.
No, I'll take this one. Do you guys see how he already suppresses the voters right away from taking away a 1-1?
Okay, but what happens if I get the first
you're
pick?
Not allowed to pick.
We didn't start the high school movie draft by saying, okay, and nobody can take Superbad. We all agree.
Right.
But here's the thing: how many podcasts are there that talk about Superbad versus how many podcasts there are that talk about The Simpsons?
You know what?
Pick the Simpsons then.
I want to see where they go.
All right.
Since I know I'm not getting the first pick, so I want to see which one Ted takes.
But one of us has to at least listen, boys. Ted, don't listen.
Okay.
One of us
We're
at
muting
least
Ted.
has to get one of the 2 because Ted can't get first and second pick no matter how hard he tries.
We'll see. He's very devious.
I don't know at what point in your weirdo minds do you think I have rigged a website? Do you think I have this ability?
Oh, I'm hacking in now.
Like
2000s movie.
Like what do you think I'm doing on this website that makes you think I have rigged the wheel?
I don't know, but I can't wait to find out.
All right, I'm gonna spin the wheel.
As Ted knows, lift the curtain. My only caveat was if you took out Simpsons and South Park, you have to take SpongeBob too. That was my only caveat. So I support a triple ban or no ban.
Yeah, I was open to if you agreed, if you wanted to make an addition, I would hear it out. And I agree with SpongeBob because of the sort of social conscious of it being so prevalent in media and references. I wanted to avoid conversation just regurgitating conversations people have heard before.
Save the longer conversations for the more, I don't want to say obscure. I don't know if anyone's taken anything especially obscure today, but I don't think we need to spend 10 minutes on The Simpsons when someone picks The Simpsons.
I just feel like it's just more of a natural of it's The Simpsons. It just sort of happens. It's so we all have memories of these shows that we want to share. Is my like, and I'm not saying like I could do an episode where we talk about them, but like
We'll
I
say
know
for the Simpsons episode draft.
Simpsons even, or just like where we talk about the Simpsons questions or the South Park episode. I just feel like I would rather give them their flowers in their own episode and then like say like, you know, and then it gives someone agency to be like, oh, like, you know, person who what goes 1-2, oh, with those two out, I can at least pick, you know, something I would have liked to have picked in any other scenario.
Because you somewhat feel obligated to choose it in the first round,
Yeah.
even if it is not your cup of tea. I get what Ted is saying.
All I'm gonna say in regards to this discussion is I do not have SpongeBob on my draft board.
I also
Do
don't
with
have
that information
SpongeBob
what you will,
on my draft board as
but
well.
I don't think everything is a slam dunk to all four people.
Yeah. That's why I said Simpsons, South Park, because I felt rather confident about those two.
I guess we'll see how it plays out.
All right.
You couldn't rig this one, Ted.
I mean, brother.
Here it is. If it lands on red, I am all right. Way to go, Joe.
Let's go.
We got Joe. I will remove Joe.
I got crowd cheering too. Nice.
Yeah. I guess this is the loudest it's ever been.
All those people are watching.
Of course, yeah, obviously now everyone's going to do their little bits. I will say they weren't on my draft board to begin with.
And then Sam.
I kind of wanted the wrap around.
I do like the wraparound.
This is a good wheel draft, I think.
I feel like this is a good like wraparound
compared to some of our other ones.
I feel like John and Joe are going to have the best bits of this draft.
Sam, I'm probably just going to give you a gift because I'm not drafting the other one because I have to be true to myself.
Well, I mean, I don't have one of them on my draft board anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Joe,
all right,
you have the first pick.
All right, well, get ready for the here comes the pizza meter.
It's there. The draft does not have the bad take sound as is tradition.
Oh, okay. Cool. I would feel obligated, and now that it's even on my list, it is eligible, because before Ted and I talked about it maybe not being eligible.
Yeah.
You can hate me for it. You can love me for it. I would like to take 1-1 SpongeBob SquarePants. Don't know how much time we need to have a conversation about it. I understand that people say it was only 4 good years and everybody's nostalgic. I disagree. It's not as good now. One, we're all adults, but two, you can watch some of the recent episodes, like you just randomly put on Nickelodeon or whatever, like something from a recent time. And it is still funny. It still gets the point across. Maybe it's not as iconic as it used to be, but I think SpongeBob very much shaped a lot of an entire generation's sense of humor as kids. I don't know how much else we want to say on it, but I'm taking 1-1.
I think I think this might be fake news. I read this somewhere that like there is sort of this perception that SpongeBob changed when the creator died, because he was very much so against the commercialization of SpongeBob that we see now. That he wanted to keep it sort of what it was when he was alive. And then you can kind of see the shift when he had died. But like, I don't know the timeline. I don't know, XYZ. I do know at some point there were not a lot of SpongeBob, not paraphernalia, but say like reference, like crossing to other things, references to other things, all that stuff that then sort of started leaking into the SpongeBob IP, I should say.
Well, but didn't he die recently? Wasn't it? Remember they played Sweet Victory at the Super Bowl a couple years ago?
I don't think that was.
I'm pretty sure he died within the last 5 years or something. He might have left. I don't know. Maybe he left.
Maybe it was him leaving, but like there is definitely a whole from what 2018.
It was the Maroon 5 year or whatever where they played.
Was that 2018 or 2019?
Yeah,
I guess
they had Squidward introduce what's his name? the rapper, and everyone thought they were, oh my god, they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it, and then all he did was introduce the guy.
Yeah.
So like there was a SpongeBob reference, but not what we wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say that is just like what I've heard. I don't know if that's obviously true.
And then I don't know other people's opposition to it being 1-1 or not, but when people talk about the length of its peak, the Beatles were only together for like 5 years, you know what I mean, and they changed the world too. So I don't think it has to be fantastic for 35 years in order to be considered the best.
All right,
it's the best to you, and that's what matters.
Yes.
Okay.
I
was worried I was gonna get heat for SpongeBob.
No, I think it's fine. My first pick. This is I'm gonna go with a Cartoon Network show. Maybe it's like might be a little biased because we share the same name or government name. It's Ed.
Wow.
And Eddie.
Wow.
This is my favorite cartoon. This is a little history knowledge, animation history. This was one of the last cartoons to be done animated on cells. I have a cell from this TV show with all 3 Eds on it. It is one of my favorite things I own because of just how expensive it is. Just the animation cells are just expensive, and just to have all 3 of them on it is very special. What more can I say about Ralph? Obviously one of the greatest foreign characters of all time, from who knows where with the weirdest traditions you've ever seen. But like, I love the scamming. I just love the idea these guys are the inept scamming of these 3 kids, where all they want is just jawbreakers. 25 cents. The parents can't even give them 25 cents for a jawbreaker. And so they feel the need to trick their peers. And I just think that the movie that comes out at the end, Ed, and Eddie's Big Picture Show, I think is a perfect way to sort of put a cap on that series.
I wasn't expecting it to be first round. I imagined it was going to get taken at some point.
It was. I was not surprised this got picked, but I didn't think it was going to go 1-2 either.
It's just like it is like my comfort cartoon. Like it is one I could just put on and just like I will like actually active watch instead of passively watch.
It's definitely a funny show. I liked it back in the day.
Yeah, I watched it like maybe end of last year, and I still enjoyed it in every episode.
Is this a safe space? Can I be honest?
Sure.
Can I be vulnerable with you?
Yeah.
I had a crush on the white trash girls when I was in like 3rd grade.
Right.
I don't know why.
The Kanker sisters?
I don't know why. I didn't even in 3rd grade, I didn't get it at the time. I was like, there's so much clearly wrong with them. But,
and I just want to say, yeah, this show came out when we were still in elementary school, and just the sort of social bonding it had with a lot of my friends was great. Like, it was like a very quotable show for us in a way that like The Simpsons never was, and I don't think came as close to South Park did for my high school friends, which was traditionally when we were watching South Park. At least I was. Anyone else on Ed, and Eddie?
No, solid pick.
Yeah,
Sam?
Respect.
3rd pick.
Wow. Well, I cannot believe that this lasted to 3, but I'm gonna, cue the pizza because I'm taking The Simpsons here.
It's not. It's like it's objectively. What the fuck am I doing?
Right. Exactly.
It's just like
objectively.
You still spelled it wrong.
Yeah, because he's a simp.
Let's try that again. the simp on. I am a simp for The Simpsons, at least for the good seasons.
I forgot the S, right? The second S or the first S.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
There we go. The Simpsons, it's far and away like, the most quotable, the most rewatchable, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because like Ted said at the beginning, like you can listen and read and watch thousands of other things about The Simpsons. But to me, The Simpsons is Albert Pujols in that, it's an absolutely incredible Hall of Fame work. you only really want to remember like the St. Louis years, the hitting the ball off Brad Lidge up to the moon, and you acknowledge the existence of the Angels and Dodgers seasons because it helped compile and put up all these crazy numbers. But to me, Simpsons like seasons 2 through 8 are like Pujols' decade in St. Louis, like untouchable, incredible stuff. And I'll cherish it forever and watch the highlights.
The only thing
That's
I
all.
want to say is that like those were the years Conan was writing,
Exactly.
and like I just want to give Conan his flowers because I don't think we're ever gonna get a chance to. This guy, if you want to know how prolific of a comedian as a writer Conan is, he wrote for like a season or two of The Simpsons. One of the best episodes of The Simpsons ever made is credited to him. I know the writer rooms for Simpsons is very different than most writer rooms and how they break stories, but like I believe that he is it's named as the head writer for the monorail episode, if I'm remembering correctly. And like, he does a season at SNL, does a couple seasons at Simpsons, and everyone universally is like, yes, this guy should have his own TV show. Like, it's the most no-brainer slam dunk everyone's ever seen. Like, that's how good Conan is. And sorry for the sidetrack, because obviously it's The Simpsons, so.
No, it's fine. I'm
what
always
more?
going to talk about how great Conan is. He's also 1-1 in my late night shows who got canceled too early draft whenever we have that. So.
yes, because
we might have to leave him off the list.
Because that list is so long that it's very easy
we can
to
get
think
Thrones
about.
out of that, I think. But don't want to harp on it too much. But Simpsons, I'm sprinting to the podium to hand the commissioner my draft card with that pick.
I don't blame you. It's like you'd be remiss in not even including it and on any list. I feel like it was on every single one of our lists just because it's The Simpsons.
I just wanted to add quickly on it that like when we were growing up, like Simpsons at some points was like must see television. Like when the Halloween episodes would be, every year, like they started promoting that, like, oh my god, like the Halloween Simpson is everybody at school had to talk about it the next day, and that was already 15 years into the show or whatever when we were in the 2000s. So it's
I also want to say, like, my parents were attempted to sort of limit like Fox, TV shows, not news obviously, but like Fox TV shows or like Comedy Central shows as like when I was a child. But like The Simpsons was the one they were like, no, like that is okay for you to watch. Because they knew they knew the show. All right, John, you got your wraparound first pick. What do you got?
Yeah. Tydings and I are in agreement. Conan also 1-1 for me.
Yeah. Agreed.
He probably has the best comedy resume. I would put his resume up against anybody else.
100% agreed.
The other thing too with The Simpsons is I felt like it was jumping the shark, and then the movie came out, and the movie was fantastic. Like I feel like it was teetering. It was teetering. Like The Simpsons wasn't as funny anymore. Family Guy was coming up. I don't want to tip picks. South Park was the big, player as well. And then
South Park had that whole arc about Family Guy, and The Simpsons were an afterthought, sort of speak, in the references
Simpsons
for that. There is The Simpsons. But that is, to me, The Simpsons did it. It's more of a loving tribute to The Simpsons. Whereas, like, there is this true vitriol for Family Guy in their eyes. Anyway, sorry, John. Go ahead.
No. It's all good. The Simpsons is a great pick. My hot take, and it's not really a hot take, I think South Park is a better show than The Simpsons. And I think they've just got better longevity. I love the characters, fearless satire. And the funny thing about Matt Stone, Trey Parker was that even during the
I'm sorry, John. Is this your pick?
Yes, this is.
Okay, sorry. You spoke as if it wasn't.
I was winded running up to hand the commissioner in the
Yeah,
cartoon.
sorry.
The funny thing was that Matt Stone, Trey Parker, they always defended their episodes and said this has to go on air whether you like it or not. And then Comedy Central, for those episodes of the Muhammad, they said we're getting death threats and bomb threats to the building. They're like, okay, fine, I get it. We don't have to we don't
Yeah.
have to show it. But take those out. I mean, they've just been bold. It's unfiltered creativity, like a really good cultural impact. First episode I ever saw was Scott Tenorman Must Die, and that was a real twist on dark humor. It's still one of my favorite episodes.
Which episode is that? Is that the one where he feeds the parents?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, so good.
And then the Make Love Not Warcraft. I never played WoW, but it's still fantastic. And Imagination Land was, I think, one of the few trilogies that really hit all 3 episodes, and it was great and a great payoff at the end.
Yeah. My only in high school, one of my favorite characters was Randy Marsh, and as I kind of age up, and South Park ages up in the sense that like they sort of relate more to Randy than they do to the 4 kids they have centered the whole show on. I am not terribly a fan of like the Randy focused storylines. And like this is more recent stuff than, obviously when we were heavily watching the show and it was more a 22 season show.
I'm with you. They lean on Randy a little bit too much. I'd like to see the kids more involved, maybe Cartman specific episodes, because he's always a great foil.
I will say
it's got a little bit too Randy.
Yeah, I will also say, like, I rewatched the show maybe early last year. Cartman is so exhausting as an adult that like it does like make it hard to rewatch.
I agree.
But like, that's sort of the point.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not supposed to love Cartman. Like he is an evil kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the same thing on the like with the Halloween episode of Simpsons. Like there were episodes like the Golden PSP, Imagination Land, the Guitar Hero one that we can't say the name of anymore. World of Warcraft. Like the South Park had literally iconic individual episodes of television that were just like perfect.
Yeah,
from start to finish.
And John, I believe.
Sorry. It's also. I do have the next pick. It's also funny how I'll just find random videos on YouTube of Cartman singing like top 40 songs. Like there's just Cartman singing Rush.
Yeah.
And then Rush ended up using him as using the kids as the intro to their concerts, which is funny. It's just great. Like because you've got this little 8-year-old talking. He's just singing Creed, and then he answers the door. So that's funny. All right.
I believe you tipped your hand here.
Did I tip my hand?
I think. We'll see.
We'll see, but I'm going with Bob's Burgers.
Ooh.
I
expected this one from you. If I'm going to be perfectly honest,
I thought he was tipping Family Guy before.
I thought he was, but now that I remember, sort of a lot of like pictures I've seen of John, it sort of makes sense.
I'll explain it now. And so my friend introduced it to me, and then my wife is a huge fanatic, and that's what she puts on before we go to bed at night. As soon as she hears the theme song, she goes to sleep, and then I watch it, and it's great. I'm going to throw this hot take out there. Bob Belcher is the best cartoon TV dad, and he's a good dad because he's the only dad husband that doesn't hate his kids or like hate his family and like bemoan them. Like how many Homer's this way, Peter's this way, where it's just like you get a wife that's way out of your league, you've got really good kids that you can't stand. Like he actually cares about the well-being of his 3 kids and his wife. Like they annoy him because that's just how families are.
Yeah.
But it's really good. I love the strong female characters. I mean, Tina's hysterical.
Yeah.
But Linda,
I was gonna say, I think Tina is the best character on the show. But
no,
I'm more of a Gene head, but that's me.
Right, and there's, I mean, they improv so much too.
Yeah.
The other thing that we quote is, whenever Tom Selleck comes up, the line from Bob's Burgers where Linda says, "When I die, I want you to throw my ashes in Bob Selleck's face." Like it's great. They're all weirdos. They're all lovable. I'm trying to think of like some good episodes. My favorite episode is Topsy, and then the other one where they it's the Wagstaff Times where they do the reporting, and the Mad Pooper. That's the episode. So South Park and Bob's Burgers. I'm already liking the position where I am.
Another fantastic movie, by the way.
Yes, and I was about to say another great movie. I just want to say, like, I'm like, this is like a rare, nothing like complaint about that show, mainly because its run was not as, exhaustive as say Simpsons South Park is, where you can kind of easily be like, oh wow, look at the like last 3 years of Pujols in the Angels uniform. I just feel
Here we
like
go.
there are all hitters for Bob's Burgers. Like, and I like obviously the puns of the burgers is like the most like moaning, like, oh geez, this guy, but it's the most dad thing who's trying to make like this burger business work.
And his rivalry with Jimmy Pesto is hysterical.
We can't talk about Jimmy Pesto anymore.
Yeah. We can't talk about the voice actor.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, just a side tangent, right? So obviously he gets caught and he's on it, pardoned and all that stuff. All right. Why didn't they just have someone else voice Jimmy Pesto? I didn't understand that. He just, it's a typical Italian Brooklyn accent. I just had somebody else with more plots around him. Maybe they just didn't want to catch the heat.
I just think they didn't want to like
voice actor.
I don't think maybe they even wanted to deal with trying to find a new voice actor. Maybe it would have been too noticeable. Yeah.
That side. Like, oh, they can't, they changed it. Like, you never know.
That's fair.
Yeah. But anyways, Sam, your second pick.
They should have had Jimmy Pesto storm the Capitol in the show. But my pick, a lot of different directions we can go here with a lot of the heavy hitters off the board. I am going to go with Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Ooh.
This show is like one of my introductions into like the Adult Swim cinematic universe, basically. I don't even remember how I randomly stumbled across it in like 2004, whatever. But just an absolute joy. Every episode. As a youth, I related most to Meatwad, but as I've gotten older, I found myself just as more of a Frylock. But to me, the quintessential quote, the line that I throw out all the time, especially the last couple of years, is Shake saying, "I'm 30 or 40 years old and I don't need this." Yeah. That is a quote that is in my everyday rotation. I throw it out at work, and there's kids much younger than me who have not seen the show, and they're like, "Well, I don't get it." You'll get it when you're older. And also just growing up in New Jersey and being in like the WFAN pipeline, you'd hear and listen to Carl's every day for your entire life. And I'm glad that was like my first real representation of like a deranged like North Jersey Giants fan, like in media. And so it has a very near and dear spot in my heart. So I'm taking it here with my second pick.
Fun fact about another little animation history tidbit for Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I believe the cityscape skyline that is behind the house is the same city skyline used for the old Cartoon Network animated show SWAT Cats. If you're familiar with that show.
That show. That was a great show.
But I'm not a big Aqua Teen Hunger head, so I will yield my time.
Oh, I thought you would be, honestly.
No, that wasn't my Adult Swim jam growing up. Maybe I pick it, maybe I won't, but I'll definitely talk about it.
Can we just take a moment to flashback real quick to when Ted said that he assumed Perez was a big Bob's Burgers guy from photos he's seen of Perez? Yeah. What on earth is that? You've also known him for a very you've
well, it's not.
It's not. What does the
but
photo
like,
have to do with it?
It's because I've.
Yeah,
it's we were. I remember at your bachelor party, we were not talking Bob's Burgers. We were talking about if Juan Soto was gonna be traded. But no, it's like I think for a long time your profile picture on Facebook was you and your wife as Bob and so like that photo is very much so like I associate it with you. I associate Bob's Burger with you. I should
No,
say.
that's correct. And the thing
That's
is,
much fairer than just saying you look like Bob.
From based off
Yeah,
of photos,
I'm
you
glad
look
we got
like you
clarification.
Oh,
on
sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. I'm sorry I exist in a place where context like also matters, and I'm not here just shooting shit with like my friends.
No, of course not.
You're forgiven.
My second pick is, I think, gonna be a very not an obvious one. Depends how you see. It's gonna be a superhero show, and I think it's gonna be the greatest superhero show, Batman animated series.
Yeah.
It is. That is like my Bible of Batman. Like, it is what I use as like sort of like where my baseline for how I have all my Batman knowledge. It's why I say Ra's al Ghul and not Ra's al Ghul, because that is how they had always said it. And I was like, well, they have to have gotten it right if they keep saying it. So it is just like, there's that I don't know if you've ever seen that clip from the show where the Grunt opens like a door to a bedroom and he just sees Batman standing by a dresser and he looks at him, and the Grunt just immediately closes the door, and another one comes and goes, "Anything in there?" And the Grunt just goes, "Nope." Like, it's just, I like very much, and it's like the first time like I think I ever watched like a real serialized thing, because each episode is almost a two-parter, almost assuredly a two-parter episode. And I have nothing more to say. It is like, that is like when I think of Batman, as much as I love some of the comic runs like Hush and all that, that's what I think of Batman, like, is the animated series.
I mean, it's a very fair pick, iconic pick, right? It gave us Harley Quinn, right? She's
Yes,
just
it
outside of
technically
so-
did give Harley Quinn.
And then
No arguments here.
the artist, whose name I'm forgetting, was very influential on the animation design for like to this day still, like
Yeah.
to how
It is-
DC comics look.
It is so, there's also like, there is this weirdly timeless quality to it that is
Yes.
just like, I just don't know really how to express.
No, I think that's fair.
Joe, you got your second
All right.
pick?
How many rounds is it in total?
6 rounds.
Okay, I thought so. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to follow up on the somewhat close at the same time, and to what your Batman is, or your Ed and Eddie is. This is what it is to me, which is the one, the only Cowabunga Boys, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
From the I think it was late 80s to early 90s. I still actually have the whole collection inside of a turtle mobile. Like, you open it up and it's all the DVDs of every season. Like, inside it's got the wheels work and everything. It's awesome. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not much else to say about it, just like Batman. Iconic for all the kids out there. Still love it as an adult. I love everything they do. Every version, every movie, every animated thing. Like, the characters and their personalities and their distinct characteristics still work 35 plus, nearly 40 years later. Oh my God, we're 40 years later of how Mikey operates, how Donatello, how Leonardo, how Raphael, how they all work as characters, still works in every single iteration of it. It's all about, brotherhood, family, whatever, and kicking butt as ninjas and eating pizza. Love it.
And that one guy does machines.
Donnie?
Yeah, I want to say there is a comic run. I think it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ronin, where 3 of the 4 have
Yes.
died, and I think Michelangelo is the one that stays alive, and he gets like so deathly serious. It is an incredible run of comics. I highly recommend it.
I tack on your serious run.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
I'm saying that's too dark. I just want to see him eat pizza and hang out.
That's what I was gonna say. I tack on your dark serious Ninja Turtles with the current Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Naruto crossover comic books, which they meet the Naruto characters, and April is from the Big Apple Village, and
Jesus Christ.
It's actually kind of insane. It's phenomenal, honestly.
All right, Joe, third pick, halfway through, I believe.
Yes. Now's where it gets good. I'm going with probably my favorite, even if SpongeBob is number one. And I kind of considered Ninja Turtles different because I don't know if you guys were Nickelodeon kids or Cartoon Network kids. We can get into that. Obviously, we watch both, but usually people have a affinity for one more than the other. And I was a Nickelodeon guy in specific, even though I watched Cartoon Network. And I, to this day, probably still hold, besides SpongeBob, Rugrats might be one of the greatest animated, kid shows or whatever cartoons you want to say of all time. It taught us about the world. We're 4 years old, learning about Jewish traditions and learning about Kwanzaa and learning about Passover and learning about everything. And there's jokes in there for the adults that I get to laugh. That you see the memes posted all over. Sometimes like with the dad is like, it's 4 a.m. What are you thinking about my life or whatever? Like, I think Rugrats is great. I even liked Rugrats All Grown Up, which they were not all grown up. They were 9 years old. I don't know why they called it that. But it was like, because I wasn't a baby when I was 5 watching Rugrats. I'm like, well, these guys are babies. I'm not. I'm cool. I'm a big boy, But when I was 9 and Rugrats All Grown Up came out and they were also 9, I was like, they're just like me for real, So I'm a big Rugrats guy.
Also, that first movie's a really good movie. Once again, I watched a cut of that movie before it was finished somehow as a child. But besides that, when Spike goes over that ledge, that was one of the most traumatizing things I had ever watched as a child. Like burned in my brain, like I'm inconsolable watching this.
Even like all the Chucky like subplots, or like the dad, like as an adult, you like respect it now more from the creators' story, like finding a new love, losing a love, finding a new life, finding a stepsister, and all that stuff. Like Rugrats really, really did a lot. I do wonder what would have happened if it came out now.
It did. They did a 3D one. Don't you remember?
No, I have no idea. I don't know. They remade it or no?
I don't know if they remade it, but I don't know exactly. They did change quite a bit in this 3D version of it. It's not. I didn't watch it, so I don't.
I don't know.
Not saying anything about it. But I guess I'll go with
Rugrats is a Mount Rushmore Nickelodeon, like of that era. It's certainly one of the top Mount Rushmore shows. And like, I mean, Reptar still gets its own. Cynthia, she's a really cool dancer.
There's a kid on the ice.
Yep, exactly.
Also, I think I've seen it before that Rugrats essentially made Nickelodeon what it was. It was not the first animated show on Nickelodeon. I'm saying that, but Rugrats essentially propelled Nickelodeon into the massive, kids animated channel success.
Yeah. How does that song go? Reptar, gotta get that Reptar. Am I wrong?
And I think you're right. And then Angelica had the best line that still rings true to this day, where she said that she's got responsibilities.
She's got sponsorabilities.
Yes. And what does it mean?
It means I can't have any fun anymore or something, right?
Yeah.
Damn, so true.
No truer words were spoken.
Yeah,
that's life.
That is. All right,
I have a twin, so that was the other reason, right? Because Phil and Lil too. So as a kid, I was like, oh, they're just like me for real,
I'm torn between two shows here, but I think I gotta go with the one I like more, and that is
go with your heart.
This is a Adult Swim show, Sam. It is the Adventure Brothers.
Nice.
It is in my opinion.
I've scratch off my list here, but good pick.
It is like, I just think it's one of the greatest cartoon shows ever made. I think it's the perfect parody. There's so much about it. The trope of the two brothers who go on adventures, but they're just the dumbest idiots of all time. Brock Sampson, this overly murderous bodyguard and this very the very out of pocket, unaware dad. I just think they knock everything they try to do parody in from the old, say, Johnny Quest type shows. They knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, this sort of goes, I don't want to tip picks, of course, but there was this sort of run with Adult Swim where there were a lot of shows that were either just straight up using Hanna-Barbera characters from the 60s and repurposing them, or doing very obvious homages to them. And I think Venture Bros is probably number one for me in terms of shows of that sort of realm, in terms of how they were able to toe that line. But I got to rethink my whole board here, Ted. So
I'm sorry. I was depending on two, and let me tip picks. It was, you sort of alluded to what the show sort of did, but like I just felt like I wanted the more complete show. And to me, Venture Bros is like the complete show, and like it's also its last movie really fantastic. I just feel like we're all picking like shows with like great movies within their own like universe.
But it's just a credit to the writing staff, to the show, the foundation there, that you can actually have a full movie and not have it drop off and not really sell out.
Well, also, like, I really feel like that movie, in particular for Venture Bros, was such a labor of love because they're like, we don't know if we're ever going to be able to do this, so we want to at least give you an ending that you can be happy with. And I think they just knocked it out of the park. Well, Sam, I blew up your board and I apologize. So I can't wait to hear.
Go a completely different direction now, and I'll save some of my other Adult Swim stuff for later, should it still be on the board. This might be, I don't know if this is considered cheating. I feel like this is taking sampler platter with a pick in an appetizer draft.
Well, we'll talk about it.
I'm going to go with Looney Tunes, specifically, if I need to get specific here, Coyote and Roadrunner.
Ooh. Well, I'll give you Looney Tunes.
I think we could give you Looney Tunes.
I think I could give you Looney Tunes.
You have so are you saying classic Looney? Because I think not the show. I would say an era, because there is different eras of Looney Tunes. You know what I mean?
That's like this. Yeah,
because there was the recent one with like Kristen Wiig. Like that show was very funny, also.
Yes, I actually did like that show.
I cannot say that show is part of my repertoire.
Yeah,
but,
no, you're thinking of me, like the old school, like the ones like
60s.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm going with.
Duck season, rabbit season. Yeah.
Man, I just like didn't really like. For some reason, in my brain, I didn't like count this as like a cartoon to me, because it just
I have my board built down to different segments, like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, like classic, and then just like other. But like this, I mean, I'm not gonna necessarily take these, but like the other Hanna-Barbera stuff, like Flintstones, Scooby-Doo, etc. Like I assume that those are all fair game, and so I figured, well, Looney Tunes is kind of just like the best of all worlds.
Well, so I want to say I do have Scooby-Doo on my board. It is a very specific run of Scooby-Doo.
Is it Scrappy-Doo specific?
No, it's not.
As long as you choose an era of Looney Tunes and you don't say the last 65 years of episodes of it, I think it's a very great pick. I think it's a fantastic pick.
No,
I'm taking the original like 60s era, like there's a run of I was doing doing my own research here on YouTube, and by which I mean just watching a bunch of Roadrunner and Coyote cartoons over the last weekend when it was 95 degrees out, and there's just it's excellent, narrative storytelling, animation, etc., without any dialogue, and it just stands out to me as like the fact that you could make kids laugh without having to like explain through words what's going on was always a hit. And it's always, it's always funny when he's running off the cliff and he doesn't realize he's about to fall until he looks down. That is a great bit.
I want to say, like, because you brought that up, one of my favorite things when I was in animation school, was like, so I was a little more like plugged into just like anything animation related, was when that like desk of one of the animators was released, and it's like, here's Tex Avery rules for Coyote,
for the show,
rules for so it was specifically for Coyote, and it was like, and one of them was like, gravity works until he notices it shouldn't be working. It's like was such like that is a foundation of Coyote. Like without that, it doesn't work. Like the acting products will always fail. That's like fair. It is everything is in its power to make him fail.
Chuck Jones, not Tex Avery for the record, but
right. Sorry, Chuck Jones. All right, nothing else. No one for more Looney Tunes.
It's just incredible.
Yeah.
I always like, just a little caveat, the fun thing I didn't know as a kid, obviously, and what's it called? The Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That
Yes.
Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse. I'm sure everybody knows, but for those unfamiliar, Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse by contract had to be on the screen for the exact amount, same frames in that movie. And I think because at that time, we think of it now, Mickey obviously is bigger because Looney Tunes isn't doing as well. Not that it's bad, but
it's more one like, but, well, you know,
it's not as right. There's no Looney Tunes World or whatever, the same as Disney. But at the time in the 80s, like 60s, 70s, and 80s, like Bugs Bunny was absolutely just as big as Mickey Mouse. And I think that's always
we want to talk about cartoons with great movies. Of course, Space Jam is right there. Classic of the genre.
Might be the truest thing you've ever said.
The Simpsons movie, Bob's Burgers, obviously, you can't talk about these great works of art without mentioning the role that Bugs had in getting the Toon Squad over the line.
I want to say, in regards to you kind of like blitzed through a lot. I think I lost my place. It was brought up during the Disney draft where one person was I think it was Joe. Someone here was so assuredly thought that Who Framed Roger Rabbit was a Disney movie because Mickey was in it.
It was probably me. Yeah, I just didn't know. And it is in my defense. I did watch it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I have no notes on Looney Tunes. John, next pick.
Yeah, I'm excited for the wraparound. I got nothing else.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm gonna go with my first Nickelodeon pick. Rugrats was on my board, but was number 2 on my board. I'm going with Hey Arnold. As the first pick in this wraparound. I would make the argument that the greatest episode in the history of Nickelodeon is Arnold's Christmas when he brings back Mr. Wynn's daughter. It's a tearjerker. I think anybody who watched that at any age can empathize with Mr. Wynn, but it touched on real life things. It made being a kid seemed cool, but also there was the gravity of the world on these kids and spoke to real issues. There were tones of addiction, body positivity. Just it goes on and on. But there were moments of humility, of humor. It had everything wrapped into it. And it really taught you a lot about the world, and I thought it was great for all ages. So I'm going with Hey Arnold for the first one. A Mount Rushmore Nickelodeon show with SpongeBob and Rugrats, I think.
That was also on my board. Technically, it was number 2 on my board, but it was more, I made my board based on what I remembered and vibes rather than a cohesive draft board, but it was like the second cartoon I had thought of.
Honestly, like your photos make me think you would be a Hey Arnold fan,
Every time I look at Perez, I go, wow, look at that fucking head on that guy. Crazy.
I mean, that's like the flat top, but all right.
Oh, yeah.
Ted is
By the way, Hey Arnold might have like the best soundtrack too. Just think about the jazz.
Yeah. It's really good.
Very good.
And your wraparound pick?
You play sketch with Mickey Mantle.
But it's not Mickey Mantle.
Not
Mickey.
Not
Mantle.
The Mickey Mantle insert.
Mickey line. Come on.
Not even.
Line, yeah. Mickey K-Line, who I think today would just be a DH, right? Like they wouldn't put him out in the field.
That's fair. Yeah. He'd be Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
It all comes back to Pujols.
It all comes back to everything's Pujols.
The great cartoon theory of Pujols.
Yes.
I gotta figure out how the hell I can link my next pick to him, but I'll find a way.
Dora the Explorer is actually 2 years older than she says she is, just like Albert Pujols.
Sarah,
Wynn's daughter's actually like 5 years older and not his daughter.
Your wraparound pick.
Wraparound pick, I'm going with Futurama. I don't know if this counts as Adult Swim, but I've certainly
it's Fox.
seen it a lot on Cartoon
It would be
Network.
Fox.
Yeah, it's Fox.
It's Fox. Yeah.
That's fine. Futurama's great. You're getting the remnants of The Simpsons and those writers and that creative style. It's a good, I mean, not exactly a spin-off, but has fresh Simpsons undertones. I really like the episode. It's Jurassic Bark. Like, just one of the best moments. Fry finds his fossilized dog.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
they learn that like Seymour waited for him every day. Like that really hits you there. I always do the Zoidberg whenever I'm just walking anywhere, and I get the looks from people. But yes, no, that's great. Kimmy, I'm trying to think of the other characters, but they're all great. So Futurama is my second pick.
That show is a emotional nightmare because like you will be hit with some of the most heart-wrenching episodes of television you'll probably ever watch in your life.
And then you've just got Bender.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, Bender might be the most iconic like sidekick animated character. Like, he might be a Mount Rushmore sidekick animated character, Bender.
All right, Sam, your pick.
All right. I'm going to go with a show that is near and dear to my heart. I don't know if it was on anybody else's board. I'm hoping it was, but not expecting it. And that would be the 3-season run of The Life and Times of Tim on HBO from 2009 to 2012. That was just true art to me. And by the extremely loud silence from the other 3 people on this call, I am guessing I could have waited longer to make this pick, but I didn't want to risk it.
Is this where your profile picture's from on Twitter?
Right. So on my now defunct Twitter account, I did have my profile set to the picture of the boss from Life and Times of Tim, and it's given me some iconic lines I still use in my day-to-day life. It was taken from us too early. Nick Kroll is Stu Balls, another great sidekick, not Bender level, but great. And if you have not seen it, which I am guessing that many of the people listening have not, go ahead and fire up whatever the hell they're calling HBO Max these days and lock in.
You got it on the first try. It's called HBO Max again.
Oh, there we go. Well, maybe by the time the podcast drops, it might be called something else. So I just want to be safe.
It's getting dropped tomorrow.
You never know with the corporate mergers and whatnot.
All right. Well, did you see South Park said this merger's a nightmare, so they really don't know when the next season's going to be out because of it.
By the way, that's the only show that can do that.
Yeah.
Like them and The Simpsons are the only shows that could go out and voice their displeasure at the network. Right. And the network be like, all right, we're sorry.
Yeah. All right. Trying to think what I want to pick. A lot of Adult Swim on my board. But I think I gotta. Know what? I gotta do it. My heart can't let this show go unpicked. This is the TV show that taught me what satire is. Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Yes.
Speaking of talk show that got canceled too early, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Conan was on Space Ghost. Though.
Conan was on Space Ghost, yes. Albert Pujols unfortunately was not on Space Ghost. But this show, yeah, this show, like, as a young child, had no idea what satire was, and I had no concept of like what a talk show was because that's not what I was watching. But there was something about this show that I sort of just intuitively understood was naturally funny. There was something about this that was funny to me. And when I would try to explain it to my friends, I was like, yeah, he has famous people on, and he kind of just like thinks they're superheroes. And they're like, I don't understand why that's funny. But to me, there was something funny about this. Obviously, his interaction with Brack, I almost said Thundercleese, but that's the Brack show. and the two other ones, I can't remember them, Moltar and whatever the bug's name is, who would be the foil to Space Ghost. But this is a satire of late night talk shows. They used, because like Adult Swim is cheap, it still is. They just used animation cells from a show called Space Ghost, and they just sort of just repurposed them for this show, which is why it's a lot of stilted animation, a lot of still, but I love it, and that theme song is it's a killer.
I was like too young as a kid, like, watching Adult Swim when I shouldn't, and I couldn't comprehend that there was an animated talk show. You know what I mean? It was like, how is this real? How are they doing this right now? Like, so I was like so focused on that instead of the humor of it. So I wasn't as in on it as I should have been, because I hear all constantly how phenomenal that show was. I missed the boat.
It's still good. When the voice actor passed away like a year ago, the Adult Swim YouTube channels was just streaming it for like maybe 3 weeks, and that's all I was watching.
I'm with Joe. I definitely did not appreciate it as much like when I was first encountering it.
Mm-hmm.
And then in college, when I had more downtime and spent way too much of it watching random Adult Swim series from the early 2000s and late 90s, I was like, oh shit, this is hilarious. But I also get why I didn't understand it as a 10-year-old. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we could do an entire draft of just Adult Swim shows, but I feel like it would have been bad if nobody picked this.
I just feel like it was down to you or me who was going to pick this.
It was on my board, so it was getting picked.
It's just like I said, there was something so, because like my dad is I grew up in a very comedy heavy family. Like that is what I had been surrounded by growing up. So when I watched Space Ghost as like a child who probably shouldn't have been watching Space Ghost, there was just something about it that I understood was funny, even if I didn't know what it was yet. All right, Joe, your next pick.
These are my last. Oh no,
you have 3 more.
I ended. I apologize.
Yes, you ended.
More after the wrap around.
It wraps around on me.
You have 3. Yeah.
All right. I think so. Full transparency, I was very interested in taking Tiny Toon Adventures, which is just like Looney Tunes, but it's almost like kind of the same thing as Rugrats because I'm using the kids version of it or whatever. And I'm like, it's like maybe we'll just do the best of both worlds. So I'm going to pivot and we'll do a little Tiny Toons, but a little fun Looney Tune action-ish. And we're going the Animaniacs from the 90s. One of Spielberg's classics.
I was debating between Space Ghost and this.
Oh yeah. For Spielberg, kind of just on a generational run of that era. If you look through that era of the Warner Brothers 80s, 90s kid shows that he was just kind of making for the fun of it. I guess maybe he wanted to have good shows for his kids to watch or whatever. But that whole era just iconic. Animaniacs also encompasses a lot of things the same way that Looney Tunes does. Like I know there were kind of shows on their own, but then there was also under the Animaniacs umbrella, like Pinky and the Brain and other iconic things. The humor is just so funny to this day. You see clips about it that we didn't that we laughed as kids because we knew it was funny. We just didn't know why, right? Like the fingerprints when she's holding Prince and the countries of the world and everything like that. Like every Animaniacs episode is just hilarious and great job by Spielberg.
Yeah, I mean, this was obviously on my board. Like it is like this is what I preferred to over Looney Tunes, which is why it was on my board. Like it's just like it was just so kooky and crazy that like it just appealed to that like I guess ADD child brain.
Yeah, and a great opening theme song, right? Iconic theme song as well. And
I mean, they have iconic songs, too.
don't know if anyone else has any thoughts on Animaniacs. But
Joe, go on to your next pick.
Next pick, I think I'll go old school to get it out of the way. Show some respect to our animated elders out here. I'm not going as old as Popeye, but I'm going back to that Looney Tunes-ish era, and I'm going Tom and Jerry. I grew up as a kid watching a lot of Boomerang. For those kids who are watching now, Boomerang was essentially a all classic cartoons channel that showed stuff from the Jetsons, the Flintstones, and Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes and all the stuff from the 60s and 70s, but we were watching it in the 90s. And that was literally religiously on in our household. We had Boomerang on all the time. Tom and Jerry, for the looking back and appreciating it now as an adult, the writing restrictions that they had on that show, without the ability to speak, without just a lot of things that other animated shows had access to. You can still watch an episode of Tom and Jerry from the 60s, and it is still really well paced, really well thought out. The jokes still land even as an adult. I think Tom and Jerry is the quintessential storytelling without having access to words. It's hilarious. Love Tom and Jerry.
Now, Sam, you can correct me if I'm wrong. My problem with Tom and Jerry is that Jerry's just running around smelling the woman's panties. Am I doing
that's not how I remember it.
You weren't with them. You weren't with Jerry all the time. It wasn't just Tom being chased by Jerry. It's I think you should leave bit show. So we know how much John and Joe love. I think you should leave more so than Sam and I ever could.
I know.
I saw that one episode when she was sad that Christmas came early. That was it with the printer.
Did you watch Friendship though?
No, I haven't, because I haven't had a friend to watch it with. I think that's a requirement, right?
I think it's so much better with at least one person there, or a couple people. I think if you watch it by yourself, it's gonna be a bummer time. Sam, I will say this: I've started saying the eatery a lot.
He told me about the eatery.
I did describe that scene to Joe because I just laugh every time I hear Subway and go to eatery.
I just find myself muttering, "We never should have left Afghanistan." Whenever there's a lull in the conversation with my friends. But that's not an animated movie.
Let's get back on track. All right, what am I gonna pick here? I'm kind of torn. I'm looking at line 7 on my sheet, and it's almost I feel like I can't in good conscience have this show not be picked. I feel like I'm going King of the Hill.
You dick.
What? Did I blow it up once again?
Wow.
I just
tough draft.
No, I've been sniped 3 times in this draft between you and Perez.
I just sorry. There is I don't. It's hard to describe King of the Hill. I think in a sense, because it is a show that feels so unpolitically motivated, but so innately political. If that makes sense. There's
just a whole episode. There's a whole episode where he gets a dead fish handshake from Governor Bush.
Yeah,
he hopes about.
It just I don't. It's so hard to be It's and which is why I'm a little worried about the reboot, or not the reboot, the continuation, I guess. But there's just something about it that I love. Obviously, my favorite episode is when Bobby goes to the self-defense classes, and his go-to move is to kick people in the balls, but before he does that, he goes, "I don't know you, that's my purse," and would kick people in the balls. It is, I don't know what it was. It is just very funny. And also a line I loved is in the finale when Bobby finally gets the nerve to ask out his crush. And Joseph is watching it, and he goes, "Wow, Bobby's like if he's a deck of cards, he's like the King of Hearts or something, and we're just like all the cards with the rules on it." It just kills me. Like, what a great thing to think about yourself. But yeah, it's King of the Hill. I just feel like, oh shoot, I'm blanking on his name. Who made it?
Mike Judge.
Mike Judge. I just feel like it would be a disservice to not include one of his shows. I will say his other show is also on my list. Sam?
Hey, Boomhauer is great too.
Boomhauer is great, yes.
Oh, yeah.
But he's a Fed.
Like, a lot of iconic like lines and one-offs from that, like Pocket Sand, do I look like I know what a JPEG is, etc. One of my favorite episodes though is where Hank wins the opportunity to go to one of the Cowboys games and like throw a football through a hole, and so he's like practicing, and then they give him the option, oh, do you want like Roger Staubach to do it instead? And at the end he like acquiesces and Staubach does it, and it like rims out and doesn't go in, and he's consoling Hank afterwards, and he's like, I know like you might not believe this, but I set up something in my yard and I was practicing for weeks and I can't believe it didn't happen. And I was like, wow, I would absolutely be the same as Hank Hill and Roger Staubach if I ever got entered in those stupid college push the ball through the hoop to win your scholarship money things, but never materialized on my end. So much like how Ted didn't want to leave without something from the Mike Judge universe, I also don't want to leave here without something from the Adam Reed universe. And I'm deciding, I only have 2 picks left, and I'm deciding between 3 shows here. So I'm going to go with Archer because I've already taken some Adult Swim stuff. And I feel like this is right after he did C-Lab and Frisky Dingo, which I might end up taking anyway, but we'll see.
C-Lab, wow, I completely left that off my board.
Oh, it's on there. It is high on there for me. But
that is a great show.
I didn't want to just make it the Sam picks 3 Adam Reed shows and 3 random shows. But Archer, to me, I think it's his best combination of, like, at least in the first 8 or so seasons of, it's got incredible voice acting work. I did not want to leave this without an H. Jon Benjamin show either. Jessica Walter, who's basically just playing Lucille Bluth again, but no complaints. Literally no complaints here because what a character. Judy Greer also, and then the guys who played Krieger and Pam, who were on some of his other shows also. It's just really excellent work all the way down. This sort of like faux retro future thing, kind of like how The Simpsons never name drops where Springfield is. Like, you never know like what year Archer is taking place in. And also it made me laugh that the guy who voiced Meatwad also voiced Barry, because they are very opposite characters. Anyway, big fan of Adam Reed, big fan of Archer. I'm taking it my 5th pick.
I think it would have been a travesty if Archer was not taken on YouTube.
I'll talk about it when I probably do my last pick. But John, you're up.
I like Archer too. I like the episode where he has to I don't know if he frees the hostages but it was basically like a take on the Somali pirates, and then he gives himself cancer, so he's battling chemo, and then others too. That's just a great episode. I'm going to stick with H. Jon Benjamin 2 and dip into Adult Swim. I'm going with Home Movie.
Yeah. I knew it was coming.
Oh man, I'm so annoyed, but I respect the pick.
We'll piggyback about this. I mean, as you can see, like, I just love deadpan humor, and like, it was the first show that I saw on Adult Swim. It might have been the first one that aired. I feel like I remember the first night, but maybe I'm just picking it up.
It used to be a Fox show and then flamed out there, and that's why I kind of got a run on Adult Swim and new episodes.
Fox really has a run of, I'm not going to pick, and we'll talk about honorable mentions if it does get picked, but Fox has a long list of shows that did not make it right away and then found new life, whether it's animated, cartoon,
Yeah,
cartoons or real action. Coach McGurk is just a disaster.
He
absolute
is.
disaster.
He is like I wanted it so bad because I wanted to preface like, of course I can't. I need another John H. Benjamin. I wanted to at least pick him. Archer wasn't my bag because I just, never watched it. I knew Bob's Burger was going to be picked by John in some capacity, but Home Movies is like quintessential. Like I have it all on DVD, and Coach McGurk, just everything out of his mouth is the most deplorable, degenerate shit you'll ever hear. And it's just like, I love when I was doing prod stuff in my first off season at MLB, there was another guy who also loved Coach McGurk, and we would just sit around always going, hey Brendan, you gotta like, you ever like know what a woman is doing when she's in the bathroom? Just like, it's just like everything out of his mouth is just out of pocket for an adult to be saying to a child. And one of my favorite quotes, all movies is by Brendan Smalls, who did Metalocalypse, because his first passion is metal music. But it is a show that is loosely based off of his life. And his parents have watched it, and they have the only thing they've ever said about that show, which might be telling how much of it is real, is them going, we don't know who Coach McGurk is supposed to be. Like they have no understanding of like who this character is.
No, you're right. And what's cool about him is that he's not like Archer or Bob Belcher, but I feel like he makes those two characters more dynamic. Like I think if there was no Home Movies, then Bob and Archer aren't as funny characters as they are. The other thing that I love too is like the whole thing about Home Movies is it's just so amateur.
Yeah.
There's no punchlines. It's like little things like losing a camera ends up turning into like being the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah.
Paula the mom has a great line like, I'm not an alcoholic, I just drink when I'm bored or busy or sad. Like it's just like very sad and also very funny. Trying to think what was the other one. Jason is just like unpredictable, chaotic intensity. Like he's great. And
it's just like an
it's very amateur. Yeah, like it's an honest show. It's not polished at all. Yeah. It is just a beautiful mess of a program.
Yeah, it is like it's honest because like everything Brendan's going through seems like the biggest deals because like that's what it is to be a kid. It's like any little minor inconvenience is just a huge blow up of your life in just ways that could not be explained. Well, I just want to say, John, hold on. I just want to say, John, thank you for making my last pick very easy. Because I didn't know if I was going to take Home Movies, but glad I got to talk about it.
If I pick your next pick now,
I don't think you will.
Draft, but that's not going to happen. I'm kind of torn between two, and one will be on the honorable mention because I don't think, I'm trying to think like. Definitely one of these should be drafted. I don't know if you guys will. But I'm gonna go with Cat Dog.
Ooh. I got some not nice things to say about that pick. Bad answer.
Great answer.
You don't understand, Ted. It is a cat and a dog. What are you not getting about?
They live in a fish and a bone house.
I just want to say I just like. That show, as everyone is so unlikable. That show, but I will yield my time.
Why are you talking about how it's a cartoon?
Yeah, it's a cartoon. They've got absurd characters. They also just have 3 characters, and I know 3 is a stretch, but like it's literally the same character is the same guy. The Mr. Rabbit is just all over the place. Like it's hysterical. No, but listen, what don't you get? It's a cat and a dog.
It's not the problem.
Collectibles.
It's not the problem.
It's just too highbrow.
No, it's definitely not that.
Can't understand the concept.
Now, listen, it's got the creative humor where it's a little gross, but not like cartoon violence, a little messy. but that's how the '90s were. Great theme song, and you just think about Cat Dog as like a metaphor, right? On a deeper level,
Okay.
it's about duality.
All right, hey Sam, what's your last pick? Sam, what's your last pick?
Civility versus chaos, love, emotion, literally fused into one body. So
I will say the movie's very good. I actually do like that movie, where they try to figure out where they came from.
Keeping the trend up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good movies.
Listen, Rancid Rabbit is one of the most versatile actors. He plays everything.
Yeah. Sam, your last pick.
All right.
Yeah, I'm really in hell right now because there's a bunch that I feel like if I don't pick it, I'm just gonna have to ramble about them in honorable mention.
Yeah, I want to say this is the most like narrowed down my board has gotten towards the end, whereas everything else has been pretty wide open for me.
This is a tough one. Geez, I am going to go. I feel like most of these have sort of been touched on because of either the like creators, the voice actors, or the networks at least. So I'm gonna go with the Boondocks animated show.
Oh, that's a great pick.
Thank you. Not big in the longevity department, but big on like episodes that stand the test of time. I remember like reading the Boondocks like comic strip in like the Trenton Times or whatever growing up, and when I heard they were making it a TV show, I was like, oh, how the hell are they going to make this happen? And it's really incredible stuff, especially as a white teenager growing up in New Jersey. It was just sort of like, oh, you can put this on TV. That's crazy. So yeah, I'm pretending that the reboot season didn't happen, but original run of the Boondocks on Cartoon Network is what I got with my last pick.
I want to say, a big miss on my part not having this on my board. I guess I should really be listening rather than using my privilege to speak.
That's right, Ted. You should be more inclusive with your picks. I mean, I took the Boondocks, obviously. Joe took the Ninja Turtles. John took Cat Dog. And I feel like I'm looking at your list right now and just not seeing a lot of diverse content on there. So I'm looking forward to seeing.
I don't know what you mean by diverse content. Well, fine. You know what? You've made my pick easier for me. I'm going to go with probably one of the quintessential action cartoons of all time, Samurai Jack.
There you go.
I was waiting.
I'm glad I could bully you into this pick, but go ahead.
Well, it was probably going to be the pick if it wasn't home movies.
Not sure I was going to pick that if it wasn't for Cat Dog.
It's just like the ideation of the like barely silent protagonist of Jack going through like these. It's just like it's spanning so much, and like there's something I always love about main characters who aren't the main character, if that makes sense. Like I watch Samurai Jack and like, yes, it's about Jack, but episode to episode, it's not about Jack. It's about like these decrepit places he finds himself in, trying to fix what Aku has done to them and how it's affected these people that are living in these scenarios. And I think as an anthology and like a show that is able to come back years later and sort of knock it out of the park with an extra season is, I feel like, very rare. And that is Samurai Jack to me.
It was definitely like a series, like as kids, it allows us or let us know that like cartoons could be serious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not saying it was the first non-comedy we ever watched, but like as a serializer, oh wow, you could have an actual dramatic storyline out of it.
And much
like a real arc too, and not just like it resets at the end of the episode.
Yes, exactly. And I just as much as
also,
Sam
iconic theme song, just wanted it out there.
As much You know, upon reflection, as much as Sam wanted certain creators, voice actors, um, I just so desperately needed I think one of the goats for Cartoon Network, Jendy Tartakovsky, represented on this list.
Yeah.
If you're unfamiliar with the name, he's Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls, like, and something I like when I remembered he had done this, something that should have been on my list was Clone Wars, which I think is one of the best like third party Star Wars thing I think I've ever watched or enjoyed.
I definitely thought Clone Wars was going to make it. If not, we'd talk about it in honorable mentions.
Yeah, I think upon reflection, it's like now it's on my honorable mentions. Like it's just like the episode where Anakin defeats that Sith lady and like it's flashing and he's using the red lightsaber. I think it's one of the greatest pieces of cartoons in anything. But yes, that is my last pick.
I'm in the ringer here, guys. This is because like, do I go something modern, represent a modern show? I don't really have any modern stuff on my list of modern cartoons I've enjoyed. Do I go classic? Got to end with a bang, and I feel bad. I'm nervous. I'm gonna go with my heart. Last pick, I'm gonna go regular show.
Yes, bro, dude. That would have been no joke. That was gonna be the pick.
So I think I'm not a big Adventure Time guy. People kill me for it all the time.
No, I am, bro. I'm on your side.
It feels nice to have Ted on my side finally instead of oh, it's me. No, I'm so dumb, so stupid, dumb idiot, totally wrong. So it feels nice to be on this side. I think regular show is a hilarious show. Like, even though they're like birds and random animals and a gumball machine and like a gorilla, like they feel like people. Like every episode is the cliche of like, oh man, I don't want to do work today, and then like catastrophic world-ending event that they save them for in their 9 to 5 at the park. It's for anyone who has not seen regular show.
I love it,
like,
man.
It is one of the funniest things. Like every single episode is just an absolute banger. So I wanted to get something modern. If anyone has any other thoughts on regular show, I was between that and Phineas and Ferb as my modern representation of cartoons, but I had to go with regular show there.
Regular show is one of those shows that got their flowers on social media some time ago, where they're just like, regular show's the best because what show can do this, and it's just like one of the most insane sequences you'll ever see in your life. One of my favorite is when Benson like busts through the door. It's like, what are you guys doing? And he's like, this horse fell from space and has to pass his U.S. history test. Otherwise, the world will explode. And he's like, what? Like, it's that every episode. I love that. Thank you. I was gonna be punching the air. I was like, I can't believe I have to say this as an honorable mention because it's just like I really wanted to pick it. Like JG Quintel is one of my favorite people to come out of like sort of that Cal Arts umbrella. He has another show which I think is really great too that I think people should like. I forget, it was an HBO Max HBO show as well, but like there's something about regular show that is just so like, it's like I say this about like, because regular show and Adventure Time were coming out at the same time.
Yeah.
And that in terms of like sort of quasi adults liking and like adult Adventure Time's the show you like when you're like in college, in high school, and regular shows to show you're like, I don't get this. But when you're when you're an adult, regular show like speaks to you in like a way that only like a lizard could speak to another lizard. It's because it's just like, it is like hitting something that you are so agreeable with. That's like, yeah, I would rather do anything else than my like 9 to 5 job.
And also the potentially most quotable line of all of animated history of my mom.
Yeah, my mom.
it's so, I mean, Mark Hamill's in it, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, oh god, it is such a fantastic show.
I'm glad it got picked. I gotta say,
probably the dopest MC. Yeah.
Yeah. I just gotta say, I only have 3 on my honorable mention, which is kind of crazy. I feel like usually I have like 5 or 8 I want to rattle off.
Oh, I got a bunch. So
I have a bunch. Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead was like the like.
Yeah, obvious. But I feel like once you took King of the Hill, I'd be like, well, it'd be weird to take Beavis and Butthead now. Like,
yeah,
Mike Judge has been spoken for. So.
In terms of like, the Scooby-Doo I specifically like keyed in on was Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, which is sort of like the quasi-modern Scooby-Doo. It was very heavily serialized and had an overarching story. It wasn't like Monster of the Week and that was it sort of story. It was around the time Cartoon Network was trying to age up with its audience, and like it was like a little more serious and darker than shows they've done before, and then they sort of punted on that, and now everything's just Teen Titans Go. And then the last one was Gravity Falls, which I feel like we might
it's on like every list.
I think we might get heat for, but I had to be honest with myself.
Yeah, that's probably in the modern cartoon more, right?
Yeah. Any other honorable mentions here? At least like one or two you guys wanted to go through.
Go ahead, Sam.
All right. So C-Lab 2021, which I mentioned when I was taking Archer. Also Frisky Dingo, which is another Adam Reed show, which is serialized unlike C-Lab, but I don't know how well it's aged in terms of like, language used and stuff like that. But it despite the second season running in 2009 was the absolute best media produced on the 2016 presidential election. Yeah. So give that a look at some point. Squidbillies, wow. I really enjoyed Squidbillies. Sorry. Harvey Birdman, which I didn't pick just because you'd already taken Space Ghost and it's sort of that same ilk. Celebrity Deathmatch, which I don't know why I was watching that when I was 9 years old, but
same
shout out to my parents. And then Animals on HBO, which is very stupid, but I loved. And the Harley Quinn HBO animated show, I think, is pretty good. But,
that Harley Quinn show's really good. I agree with that.
And that was the honorable mentions.
I had Go Teen Titans Go, which is a great show.
Which wait, hold on. There are two Teen Titans.
The newer one.
The newer one?
I had the older one. I had
That's
the
crazy.
First Teen Titans, yeah.
I didn't watch the older one. That's why I didn't pick it. I don't know anything about it, but it's hysterical. One of the funniest scenes ever is when Robin has to race the Flash, and the Flash just just destroying him in these 100-yard dashes. And then for the final scene, Robin just takes out like a police baton and cracks his knees and wins the race. And they all go running over to Robin as if he just beat Carl Lewis in a 100-meter dash. So that's a good one. I'm trying to think of the other shows that I had out there. Jimmy Neutron wouldn't have counted, right?
It would have. I would have counted it.
Okay. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, so I mean, Nickelodeon I think Nickelodeon dominated Cartoon Network back in the day. Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, Danny Phantom was great. Invader Zim is okay. Rocket Power are all pretty good shows, I think. And then some people like Avatar. I wasn't really into it, but I know that.
Oh, that's another big miss.
I thought Avatar was going to be on here.
Yeah, same. That's why I didn't put it on my board.
It's like my Avatar also did not get picked. But.
I really like Doug. I think I just kept it off my board to keep it.
Doug was on my honorable mentions too.
I kind of kept it off to keep it light.
I'm also glad we didn't pick Family Guy.
I'm surprised.
No Seth MacFarlane extended universe here.
I want to say
Guy, no American Dad, no Robot Chicken, no Cleveland Show.
Robot Chicken's not Seth MacFarlane. That's Seth Green.
Oh, it's Seth. Well, he works for Seth MacFarlane. Yeah. So
I want to say I would have had some say about Family Guy, if someone had picked American Dad, I think they would have made the correct. If someone had picked American Dad,
I was asking you about claymation before we started.
Yeah, what's the claymation one?
Celebrity Deathmatch.
Oh,
I thought you were going to be like, he's going to pick Robot Chicken early, and I was just like, oh no.
No. I doubt. Like I told you, like my first thought was Moral Oral when you said stop motion.
Moral Oral was on the list, but that was like if you guys had taken all my picks in order, and I needed stuff to have. I needed just like a list of cartoons to remember afterwards, but I figured we weren't going to overlap completely.
Yeah. I'm surprised how much we sort of sniped each other. I feel like this is the first time that's happened. I know it's only
there was a
2 drafts, but this one felt
Perez took Bob's Burgers, and you took Venture Bros, and then King of the Hill.
And Space Ghost.
And I was just like, and Space Ghost too, yeah. So I was just like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and I want to say Animaniacs was picked from me, Home Movies. Hey Arnold, technically.
Great pick.
Even though I wasn't, Animaniacs is great. Hey Arnold, even though it wasn't high, but it was something I was heavily considering. But Joe, did you go through your honorable mentions?
No, not yet. So as I'd already mentioned, I was between Phineas and Ferb and regular show as my modern pick. So Phineas and Ferb is on there. I also have Chowder from the 2000s.
Oh, Chowder's a really good one. No, I'm with you.
Then with Teen Titans, I was between Teen Titans and Batman Beyond. But once you put Batman on there, I was like, all right, I'm not going to win that one. So if I put Beyond, even though I love it.
I love it too. No, I'm with you.
I love Batman Beyond. Fairly Odd Parents, Rocko's Modern Life. So more Nickelodeon stuff there. And then I was debating just out of respect, choosing DuckTales for the greatest animated theme song of all time. With DuckTales and Huey, Dewey, and Louie and Duck McScrooge and everything. Scrooge McDuck, I said it wrong. Excuse me. Scrooge McDuck. So those are my honorable mentions. I didn't really get sniped for anyone else. I think the only one that I possibly would have taken from somebody else would have been Archer, but I'm comfortable with my list.
Yeah. As always, there will be a poll in the show notes to vote on who do you think won the draft. Was it Joe with SpongeBob SquarePants, TMNT, Rugrats, Animaniacs, Tom and Jerry, Regular Show? Was it Sam with Simpsons, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Looney Tunes, Life and Times of Tim, Archer, and Boondocks? John with South Park, Bob's Burgers, Hey Arnold, Futurama, Home Movies, and Cat Dog? Or me with Ed, and Eddie, Batman the Animated Series, Venture Brothers, Space Coast, Coast to Coast, King of the Hill, and Samurai Jack. I don't know if there will be other questions for this one. Maybe we just keep the poll simple to just who won the draft.
Does Perez look like a guy that likes Bob's Burgers?
Well, that's not in the exit poll.
That better be.
Tune in next time when hopefully we'll be sort of back with regular programming in terms of a regular question answer type of episode. Who won way back when we did it? I believe it was a Sam victory in the Pokemon episode, which I believe was the last regular episode.
We'll have to check the tapes on that one. I don't even remember.
But
as much as I want to claim victory, but
thanks for listening. Please share it with anyone you'd want. Leave a comment. Do all that good stuff. Apparently it helps, because the only way to make it so I don't have to do my regular job is if you share this with people. I'm Ted. I've been your host. The last piece of media I watched was Season 3, Episode 23 of Lost, Through the Looking Glass, Part 2. Bye.